OG inbounds, not guarded, tip in a win. Here was how his post-game press conference started. He's literally the best. How are you going to remember OG's shot historically?
I don't think we're going to have to remember it.
Oh.
Because it's going to be a statue outside of Madison Square Garden.
Really?
Not enough statues outside the garden.
I know, but there's.
And you think that'll be the?
I think there will be. I think this team will have multiple statues, and I am giving the Knicks a free idea to chart new statue ground.
Love it. Let's hear it.
The first ever, what I would call, doubleheader statue, where on one side is OG making the block, and on the other side is
like
him with
90
the tip
feet
in.
away?
Is tip in, but it's the same statue. It's like they share a back. It's like OG facing this way blocking, OG facing this way tipping it in.
I mean, it's very interesting.
Shay just laughed at me, but it's an awesome idea.
I'd say ambitious.
It's an awesome idea. But I do think this will be, if they win the championship, this will be a statue outside of Madison Square Garden. I believe that. But go ahead.
I don't know. That'll be interesting. I mean, like you said, they don't have statues out there. There's
Thank
no
goodness.
Patrick Ewing, Walt Frazier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Statues make it tough to get in. But it's the best, assuming they go on and win the championship. It is the greatest shot in Knicks history. And I know we all talk about the Willis Reed jump shots in 1970, Game 7. And those were huge, but, you know, Willis had 4 points in that game, and they were early. It
was the first 2 points, two baskets.
And then he didn't score the rest of the game. This obviously was the game winner, and so I think it just has to be, breaks a 53-year drought, has to be the greatest shot in Knicks history. And then I just think it's one of the most iconic shots in NBA history. Like, I think of, and I'm not saying these are the top 4 or whatever, but ones that come to mind.
I love this.
Obviously, the LeBron block in 2017.
Yes. Yep.
Plays 2016 against Golden State. Ray Allen shot Miami Game 6 against San Antonio 2013. Jordan shot against Utah 98 to end his second
that was a good
comeback. And this. I think
you didn't mention the Kyrie shot, which surprised me a little bit. But is it just because LeBron's play was the play of the
I
game?
think LeBron. Yeah, and Kyrie's shot was obviously incredible. But I feel like iconic kind of means things that are resonate in people's minds. So I think people think more of that block than the actual game-winning shot by Kyrie. So I just put this up there with all those.
I think it is. If I think post-war, the last decade of the NBA, LeBron, the block and Kyrie shot was 2016. I think the most iconic single shot is Kawhi's series winner. The double
Against
with Toronto.
Philadelphia?
Against Philly. The Game 7 double bounce.
Yep.
I think that's the most iconic single shot in the NBA in the last 10 years.
This would pass that.
I think this passes that.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think it's the most, I think it is, there has not been a single final shot that sticks out to me. There's the lob from Drew to Giannis. Late in that game, but that wasn't like that wasn't 1 second left. This to me is, and there aren't, like, this isn't a buzzer beater, I know technically, but there aren't a lot of, finals game-winning buckets, even, in the last 3 seconds in the history of the finals. This is, and the way he did it. Can I ask you one question before you go?
Yeah.
If we run it again, I think it's really interesting that Brunson could have he's so open, Brunson could have just passed it to him. He has a wide open shot. Like, he's asking for the ball. He's asking for the ball. But if he does, maybe he makes it and then it's fine. But if he does that, they don't have time for the putback. Like, this was the other thing, and Kenny made this point.
It was an early shot.
Well, Kenny made this point, and Chuck killed him for it, but he was right at the start of the Inside the NBA. It did remind you a bit of the problem with the Spurs Game 2 end when, I almost said Tony Parker, when De'Aaron Fox just dribbled and waited, and then Wemby took it as time expired.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They didn't give themselves the chance for their version of something like this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll tell you why I love this shot. I like when iconic moments line up with the player's aura, let's say.
LeBron's block is in that category.
Yeah, LeBron is obviously the all-time leading scorer, but his versatility will always remember, can play all the positions, and his most famous play was block. Jordan was, you know what, and I know he's at Paxson and Kerr, has famous shots too, but he's like, I'm going to win this by myself, and even push off a little bit. And this is OG who has quietly, as we saw from like his press conference, like under the radar, I'll just do a little bit of everything. I'll get the block on De'Aaron Fox to maybe save the game. I'm not giving up, and I'm going to try my hardest, and have a tip-in. You can call it a shot. It's certainly the most famous tip-in, but it's not like it's an unconventional shot, not like Reggie Miller's shot in the Garden, Larry Johnson's
Jim
shot.
Valvano game.
Yes.
The most famous tip-in since.
But even that was grabbed and put back, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all time. It's an iconic.
Lorenzo Charles.
Lorenzo Charles.
Yeah. Excellent.
No one fed me that, actually. I had that.
No one's claiming that. The doc protests too much. Al Harrington here with us to talk about the largest blown lead in NBA Finals history. Charles Barkley didn't mince words after the game. All right, Al, caveat on this question. You can't say both. Was this more of a historic comeback or more of a historic collapse?
Well, before we start, man, like New York's on fire right now.
Correct.
I wrote a song for you guys. And
What?
Miles, I want you to sing with me, okay? You ready?
What?
Start spreading. Come on, Wiles.
wrote this
the Knicks
song.
are one win away.
Oh, my.
Come on, Wiles.
He doesn't have lyrics.
Don't be a part of it. Come on. New York.
New York.
Hey, here we go, man. Hey, it was so
Also
crazy
some
in New York.
financial implications.
Yeah, we got to be careful about that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Listen, New York was crazy. I was at a viewing party yesterday at Central Park, and I couldn't even get an Uber back to the hotel. I had to walk from Central Park all the way back to 35th Street. And New York was nuts. They were
Bad
lighting
beat
off
for the person standing behind
firecrackers,
Al in the viewing
fireworks. It was nuts yesterday.
Yeah.
But listen, the Knicks is our time. It's our destiny. You know, the basketball guys are taking care of us. They're putting the perfect team in front of us for sure.
Oh, that's interesting.
These yesterday was a trap game to me, right? In the league, like when we would play certain teams or certain players specifically like that, you know, if they hit their first 2 threes, we always rooted for that because if they hit the first 2 threes, they would just keep pulling and they would forget about their mid-range game or playing downhill. And I think that's what happened to San Antonio yesterday. They hit all those threes in the first half. I thought we had them right where we wanted them the whole time because I knew we were going to make some form of a run. And when you have that type of a big lead on the road, it's tough to hold that lead.
You were confident at halftime?
I swear, I just felt like if we made any kind of a run, being that they were a young team and playing with that type of a league, you start getting a little tight because it's like, I can't figure out how to stop this run. And obviously they kept shooting threes. They took threes early in the shot clock. They were missing. And then you see what happened. The collapse happened.
Well, it's interesting you say that because watching the game, I mean, and they're racking up. They're at 60 points and 70 points. Yeah. And then early, I'm like, man, it's 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Like, I did feel like, man, just get this game over with, but it felt like it was going so slow.
It was.
Because I was like, it just felt like almost like the Spurs were getting bored because it was just so easy, but there was so much time left. And you knew the Knicks were going to make some type of run, and obviously we saw what happened. To answer your question, Wilds, I got to be honest, like, it will be remembered as a historic comeback. Because it's the Knicks, because it will likely be their first championship in 53 years, it's New York, and New York lore is going to trump San Antonio lore. All right, so San Antonio to be remembered as a collapse.
Well, what
but
do
New
you
York,
think? Forget how it'll be remembered.
For me, it was clearly a collapse.
Yes.
And giving credit to the Knicks, of course, but there's no Charles Barkley is absolutely right. You can't come back from 29 down without the other team helping you. I don't care what. Like you said, they're taking quick shots. Just take a little time. Stay aggressive, but work the clock a little bit. They did none of that. And so it absolutely was a collapse.
So the 2 biggest NFL playoff from a margin comebacks of my lifetime, not my lifetime, my adult lifetime, are 28-3 Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the year the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, down 24-0 to the Texans. 28-3 was a Patriots comeback with a couple unfortunate moves by Atlanta, but it was a lot of Patriots excellence. 24-0 was the Texans doing some of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen a team do. They did a fake punt with a lead. They fumbled a kickoff. Which is why this to me is more Texans than Falcons. This were more the Knicks. Yes, Brunson was clutch because he is clutch, and OG is an unbelievable start to finish game, and then the ending kick. But the Spurs just needed to have 5 straight minutes of competent basketball, and the Knicks wouldn't have been able to do it. And this is where what will, for at least the short term, stick to Wemby. I'm not even talking legacy-wise. I mean as far as who he is as a not yet fully formed player is because of where the flaws in his game are. You can't just be like, go get us a bucket and calm this crowd down.
Yeah.
And I've been the way you could with any of the other guys that we talk about as the best player in the league. I'm not saying those teams can't collapse. They can collapse, but it's not going to be because Joker can't get a bucket, or Shea can't get a bucket, or Luka can't get a bucket. It might be for other reasons. And Wemby in that second half could not get a bucket. And Castle in the fourth quarter couldn't get a bucket, but made all his free throws. Wemby in the fourth quarter, I think 8 for 8 in the fourth quarter, was Castle at the free throw line.
He's clutch.
And you could see that he's won a championship. I know it was college, but this to me was, Fox made a mistake. I thought Mitch Johnson, what did you, I read it as Mitch Johnson froze. I think he couldn't believe what was happening and forgot he was an active participant in it. What did you make of Mitch Johnson not calling timeouts and calming everything down?
I feel like when you have a lead like that, you are just really trying to just fill out the flow of the game, right? I think even when we think about game 2, right? We thought he should have called a timeout then.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's just he's young as well, right? He's still trying to figure it out himself. And I think sometimes with all the craziness in the stadium and everything, you kind of get wrapped up in it all. And and I think that comes from experience, because obviously he had a timeout that he could have called there. But I just really, with the players, there's a such thing as basketball IQ. Right, and to your point, I feel like they brought Fox there and they gave Fox that huge contract, right, to come in and kind of fill some of the void that Wemby has, right? And when you look at it, and I don't mean to kick a man while he's down, but he was the biggest culprit of anybody. You know what I'm saying? You get that steal, it's 13 seconds left, and I know in your mind thinking it's 13 seconds left, but you either dribble that out or you pump fake. They were going to foul. We had to foul in that moment. But you decide to try to lay the ball up on a 6'8" guy that's running, full speed. It's just weird to me. And then the take foul was too early. So it's just, it's.
And you had him trapped. You had 2 defenders, and he was at the half court line.
That's the guy. And the other thing that I as I've been thinking about this and some of the conversations we've been having about it, when we keep hearing them talk about who's the leader of the team, and they keep going back and forth between the 22-year-olds. That's another weird thing to me. That's something that needs to be addressed. Because when you think about, I'll just give you the Miami Heat for an example. No matter how good playoff Jimmy was and Bam was and all that, if you say who's the leader of the team, Udonis Haslem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that they're missing. They have Mason Plumlee and all those guys over there, and you see them doing a lot of yapping, but for some reason,
So who should it be?
I don't know. That's why I'm not in that locker room. That's the thing. It got to be someone.
I thought it was supposed to be Harrison Barnes. But he lost his starting job to Champagny, and now he's getting DMP coaches' decisions. I thought Barnes is one of the longer tenured Spur. Maybe is he the longest tenured Spur?
Obviously,
I thought I heard Keldon was the longest.
Oh no, Keldon I think is but I thought he's a champion. And I thought it was supposed to be him, but now he's been marginalized to such a degree that I don't know.
Really quick before we're going to talk about the World Cup, and your song aside, are you giving the Spurs any chance?
To win the series? No. To win another game? Yes.
Okay. Basically, so you're saying
Knicks
Knicks in
Six.
Okay.
Worst case.
Counting down to USA Paraguay. 1 day, 9 hours, 19 minutes. Joining us now is our World Cup correspondent, who is an expert. It's Dax McCarty. Dax, we're talking World Cup today. Our last two friendlies, we split. Senegal, we got the win. Germany, we lost, but as Kenny Atkinson say, we analytically won. We had more shots, more time possession. We just looked good. Do we expect, or are you expecting to see the best version of Team USA on Friday?
I am. And the first 15, 20 minutes of this game against Paraguay is going to be the most important of the entire group stage. Unless, of course, you need a result against Turkey, which I hope we don't. Maybe to win the group. But Paraguay, the friendly we played against them can tell a story. And it was a story of fight, scrapping, the scrap at the end of the game, the fact that the U.S. men's national team had to actually come together and show that they were a real group and show some grit and show some passion and some heart, which had been questioned. I'd questioned it before this game. I love seeing stuff like this because, of course, it's not great for the image of the game, but when you want to come together as a team, when people are questioning your will to represent the national team, that is what you have to show. And Paraguay, they know it. The U.S. know it. The U.S. are a better team. Paraguay knows that. They know what they're up against. They want this game to delve into chaos. If the game looks like that, Paraguay has the upper hand. U.S. men's national team needs to show that in the first 15, 20 minutes that they're going to suffocate Paraguay. An early goal would do so much to settle the nerves of everyone, analysts, fans, the team alike. That is going to be so important for the U.S. men's national team to set the tone from the beginning, show all the people, the supporters of the national team for a long time, and people that might be coming in, as Nick said earlier, that just come around for the World Cup, and they just want to show their patriotism and support the U.S. men's national team. Show them what they are going to see throughout the entire tournament in those 15, 20 minutes. If you set the tone in the first 15, 20 minutes and you show exactly how difficult you're going to make it for Paraguay, the U.S. men's national team is going to be able to, I think, control the game, put it on their terms, and their quality in the end will shine through. They should get 3 points.
I want to talk about Mauricio Pochettino because I think it's pretty clear he's the most high-profile manager this team's had as far as international reputation of my lifetime and
no question
almost
about
assuredly
it.
ever.
Yeah.
I also think 3 months ago there was a little like, is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Like what Pulisic wasn't scoring, the team didn't look good. There was, I don't want to say infighting, but it seemed to be, a bit of sniping about, who's there, who's not there, how much people care, all of that. I think those were all fair.
He's like, I don't know if we have good enough players.
Right, and then he was like, the difference between us and the other teams is the other team has great players, and we don't. We don't
have a top 100
player.
Correct.
It all felt very ominous. And then after the Senegal game, I was like, oh, I see. Like, it's all fine now.
Sure.
That is obviously prisoner of the moment-y. But there is something to breaking a lot of eggs in a quest of having something peak right at the right time.
Your delicious omelet.
Right. And I do think the three halves, the Senegal game plus the first half of Germany, made me feel like there was a method to his madness.
Correct.
Do you feel the same way? And that form that we showed again, that game and a half, I think that's good enough to beat anyone in the group, obviously, but also be a real competitor once you get out of the group stage.
Sure, I absolutely agree. And I've been critical of Pochettino because I haven't liked all the tinkering, especially so close to the World Cup. If you were to ask me right now, what is the U.S. men's national team's best 11 or starting 11? I couldn't tell you because we haven't seen them on the field. And so it is conceivable that the lineup that we see tomorrow against Paraguay is the U.S. men's national team best team in Pochettino's eyes, and that will be the first time that they are playing together. which is almost unheard of. It's almost unthinkable. But to your point about breaking eggs, that's the best thing Pochettino could have done. He came in here and he said, there is no guaranteed starter on this team. I don't care where you play. I don't care what your history is. I don't care what your past is. And your point about a little bit of the infighting, like there was a big thing about Christian Pulisic not playing in the Gold Cup, saying that he wanted rest. And so now I'm okay with that. I wasn't at the time. But if Christian Pulisic has a great tournament, a great World Cup, and he does what he is supposed to do, no one's going to care.
Yeah.
Specifically me, I'll say, you know what, Christian? Great decision. But at the time, it bothered me because I want to see our players
And I think
have
it bothered
pride in
Pochettino at the time.
It did, and that's good. And I'll make the argument that Yunus Musa, one of our most talented midfielders, a young kid who had a great 2022 World Cup, he is not on this team because he did the same thing. And now he hasn't been able to show good form over in Italy for his club teams, and Pulisic has. But Pochettino, he's no nonsense. And that's the Argentinian in him that says, no position is safe with me. All the players have now this expectation that they could play, they could contribute. It doesn't matter about the name on the back of the jersey. It just really matters about the crest.
All right, let's zoom out past Friday's opener. Mexico, South Africa today at 3. South Korea, Czechia at 10 right here on FS1. 2 of 104 matches on Fox and FS1 through the final in New Jersey. Who do you think will be raising the trophy during the final in New Jersey?
Well, I've been saying Spain, and I'm going to stick with them. I know, Yamal, you talked about his hamstring. Yep. I'm obviously banking on that being fine. But I just feel like they last few World Cups, they haven't played well or gotten as far as they want to. But they're the reigning European champions. So I just think Yamal is really going to showcase himself in this tournament and lead them.
Which he needs to.
Yeah.
This is his time. And he has been a superstar since he was 16, 17 years old. So he's young, relatively speaking, in life terms and soccer terms, whatever. But in terms of his experience, the expectations on his shoulders are absolutely massive. And Spain is absolutely a favorite. I'm going France.
Yes, let's
France
go.
has... You could pick a French national team with 3 or 4 different starting 11s in terms of their attacking profiles, the different attacking players they have, and they would still be a top 4 or 5 national team talent-wise. Their depth is scary, and I still think they could potentially be on upset watch against Senegal in the first game. Wow. But even if they drop points, they're going to be fine because all they care about is getting to the knockout stages. France, they are going to lift the trophy for us.
Nice.
Listen, what do you guys believe in over there?
Due dates.
You guys believe in
Oh, you're going to England.
No, I'm not going to England.
It's not coming home?
You know what I believe in? The elements impacting sporting events.
Oh, you're going too hot?
You're going hot?
If it's hot, who do you think that benefits? Teams from England? No. Teams, from Mediterranean climate? No. Benefits the greatest soccer nation in the history of the world.
Dying for Brazil.
Brazil.
And
we were talking about Pochettino. I think you could argue they have the best manager in the whole tournament. And I think that you got some injury concerns, but I'm going Brazil. Real quick, 10 seconds, is there a dark horse you like?
Morocco.
Wow.
They're playing Brazil Saturday.
Love Morocco.
I'm going to be there.